Hello everyone. Today we have Dr. Srinivas Khedam ji, who has been serving in the education field for close to 36 years across the globe. He started his career in India and currently he is serving as an assistant director of family engagement in Seattle. We had a very casual conversation on what I'm doing, and Srinivas ji graciously accepted to be here and to share his insights. So, thank you so much, Dr. Srinivas Khedam ji, for being with us here today. Looking forward to speak to you. Would you like to introduce yourself with a couple of more words for us, Srinivas ji?
Absolutely. Thank you, Varlakshmi. I really appreciate you, asking me to join. And yes, at the moment, I'm an assistant director in the Family Engagement and Resource Center in North Shore School District, which is in the north of Seattle. What I do is, I'll ensure that families are being supported. Basically, most importantly, immigrant families who are furthest away from racial and educational justice. That means, due to so many barriers that they have in their life, their kids are unable to perform very well in school. So my job is to help them eliminate those barriers so that we can create a level, even field for them so that they all get a chance to accomplish their goals and dreams and something like that. So that is what actually my role is.
Wow, that's fantastic. And which age group do you serve, Srinivas ji?
I am actually, it's a school district which serves about 23,000 students. So elementary to all the way to high school. So pretty much I work with all principals, entire school district.
Oh, okay, so you serve basically kids of all age group,
All age group. Yeah.
all the way from K to teenagers, yeah, 12.
Yeah. Mhm.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So this is interesting, Kedam ji. So I work with teenagers, teens, and youth, and predominantly as a life skills coach to empower them to overcome some of the barriers and manage distraction, excel academically, enhance their emotional intelligence, and so on. I think this will be a great conversation today.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Could we touch upon the importance of emotional intelligence for teens and youth in today's world?
Oh, absolutely. You asked me a question that I'm passionate about because most of the time that's what I serve. Students, especially, they go through the teenagers, especially once they transition from elementary school to middle school and middle schools to and high school, and as they grow up a little bit into the senior classes, like about 11th and 12th grade, junior or senior, I think they tend to have a little bit fewer problems. But as you said, really right now, like if they're going through so much physically, that's a transition. I would say that, when how you're going from one country to the other country or one place to the other place, in the same way they are also in the physically, emotional, they're going through so many changes, and their thought process is changing, their world is widening, and it's becoming more colorful. At the same time, imagine, you're thrown actually almost 100 dishes in front of you. How do you get distracted, right? The same thing. Or you love about 100 video games, right? Or maybe 100 video games are put in front of you and ask you to make a selection. How do they do that, right? It's all confusing. So that's the time where they need someone who can guide them, point them in the right direction. It is critical because they're standing at the crossroad. So he needs some kind of a guidance, either academically or emotionally or socially, or maybe peers, how to handle peers, how to handle stress. We are distracted by so many gadgets today and all the technology and social media and all that stuff, right? So but we need to make sure a right coach, a right person who can be able to say how you utilize all those things responsibly. Otherwise, what happens is, kids get lost. It's kind of, you're throwing them in a jungle, right? And asking them with limited skills, limited tools, you're asking them to explore a jungle, right? So that's exactly what right now, that's the reason why teenagers get lost. And as well as the parents need to know how to engage with youth. They need to understand their hormonal changes. They need to understand their mentality. They need to understand their attitude, behavior, and so on. What's going on in their mind? What's happening in their world? Almost like take cricket, right? And they need a coach. However they may be excellent, they may be, without coach they cannot actually master their skill set. So I think it's critical for them to have a bright future academically, socially, emotionally, and being responsible individuals.
Yeah, completely agree. And a lot of things resonate with me on whatever you said on how they would get lost in a forest, right? Imagine walking in a forest without any direction. Though parents guide them and give them a lot of inputs and teachers guide them at school and everything, there is one thing that I want to touch upon is the emotional part, right? Most of the times, what I am seeing is we have this tendency of getting into problem solving mode, which actually does not work many of the times. When there are emotions going on in them, if we don't empathize with them, if we cannot connect with them at their level and empower them to be on their own, what happens is this comes across as an advice and it starts to backfire also.
True, absolutely. Now, don't go ahead and jump in and try to give an advice to them. Okay, so they have a lot going on in their mind. So take time to listen to them. Listen, that's very important. Give them an opportunity to why they are doing that, whatever that they are doing, whatever the stress that they have, whatever the thing that is happening in their life. Maybe their grades are falling down, they are unable to focus, they are unable to concentrate, or their behaviors are going way off. Normally it's a good kid, right? But what happens, all of a sudden behavior is changing. So what's happening? So you need to understand, you need to give them an opportunity to in a compassionate and as well as empathetic way. In a way, I said, hey Sunny, okay, tell me what's going on. I mean, here what I say that one, to the parents, I say, did you ever get a chance to actually take your son out for a coffee or something like that? Are good listeners. Once you listen to them, then they trust you. It develops a trust. Oh my God, there is someone who wants to listen to my story, right? Not all the time giving advice and so on. So then what happens is you will understand, oh, these are the reasons why actually this child is having some issues. Then you can offer some better solutions. So say once you develop that trust, automatically kids will start opening up more.
Yeah, I'm seeing that time and again. When the very first session when the kids come in, usually it is not the kids who sign up, right? The parents say, "Oh, there is something called coaching. Okay, can you please coach my kid?" Right? So, and the first session would be they'll be a little hesitant. Okay, somebody is coming in here and they're going to talk to me. And I say, "Don't worry about it. By the first or second session, they get settled down because here I gave a space where they could explore about themselves, right? Where in the world they get time dedicated 1.5 hours time, right, to just sit and think through about themselves and express their voice, opinion, and brainstorm and create ideas and solutions that works for them, right? Because I'm not going to say this is the solution that has to work for you and everybody else, because everybody is unique and everybody has got intelligence to think on their own and express their own and find their own solutions. Yeah.
Absolutely. The capacity. Always say that one, we often think that when, teenagers actually are, not wise enough, or they are kind of, they don't know what to make, they don't know about that. They don't know. No, it's wrong. Teenagers, youth, strongly believe they have so much of tons of energy and they're very, very intelligent. Okay. You just have to channel the energy in the right direction. Okay.
Yeah.
And you have to give them the confidence that they can do it, or they have confidence, they have the capacity, they're capable enough to do that one. So sometimes when kids are there like that, all they need is someone to tell them, it's to remind them that how capable they are, right?
It reminded me of Hanumanji, right? Where
I was going to give that example actually. Actually, I thought of giving that example. Yeah.
where they don't, where he was not aware of his own strengths, and somebody has to remind him. So I pretty much in every session I see that, no, wow, look at that, right? How they came in, and after a few sessions, how confident they are, how well they're performing, how well they're managing their time, how well they're focusing. Wow, it just reminds me of Hanumanji every time I do that. Yeah.
So every teenager is a Hanuman. That's how it says. Every teenager is Hanuman. They can become Hanuman, real Hanuman, who can be able to climb the ocean, cross the ocean. When we have coaches who have confidence in them, even parents also could be wonderful coaches. To parents,
Yeah.
sometimes to turn out to be coach, they have to put their hat as mom and dad hat and say that I'm going to be coach. If you take quite a bit out of cricketers, right? Their parents are their coaches.
Uh-huh. One of the reasons why I have parent as a silent spectator in my coaching conversation is for them to observe and reflect on, hey, how could we take this forward? Because it's not sustainable to have a coach lifelong, right? For our year together, right?
Mom and dad are the best coaches too, but they should be in a position to take up that role, and not hesitate, should not hesitate to improve their skill set, also learn to how to be a best coach. It's
No, as a parent, I have tried wearing the hat of a coach, and yeah, it works wonders. And there are instances where I miserably fail because no, the emotion as a parent comes out, right? Yeah, that's when I feel like, oh, when somebody approaches me to get coached, I have a very emotional detachment there, right? And I only wear the hat of a coach, and I maintain my cool and calm and perfectly. It works perfect, right?
yeah.
But when I try to do everything that I do here, being a parent, sometimes yeah.
Yeah, it's a constant, it's a game. It's almost like a chess game. Sometimes your move doesn't work, and you got to think about your different move,
Yes.
right? And you
So one thing that comes to my mind is how important it is to build on these emotional intelligence. So if you could share some examples of how inculcating these in the adolescent years could help them as an adult.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm working on actually an article on that piece actually, right? What I'm thinking is, we often forget the fact that what do we want? What do we want our children to be? That is a question that we all have to ask. Do you want them to be just to be money making machines, like do academically fine everywhere, A grade and all the stuff and so on, and go to wonderful universities and crack a job right away and make money and buy a car and buy a home? Is that what you want actually your children to be? Or your children have to be responsible citizens and good individuals who have empathy, who care about the world, who care about the people, who care about their wives and as well as husbands and children and so on too. So it's kind of a holistic individual, we call it as. I think some education, they talk about it, right? It's holistic education, whole child education. Yeah, holistic education is all about when you have this kind of a emotional intelligence, coaching is given to them, how they need to play about different types of emotions. We are all filled with the different types of emotions, right? And how to face this kind of adversity that you get or adversaries that you face in your life, right? If you are good at only accepting only A grade, and then what if it all happens? I just have an example. I have to say that one, I'm just happened to talk to one parent, one student, actually straightforward student. And that student got actually an F in a class. And that student is unable to handle it because that student always is 4.0 kiddo, right? So why F? Because there is something that happened, either overconfidence or some kind of things, external circumstances that actually created that situation in a family or something like that, where he ended up having an F, right? Now the question is, that student could not handle it, so we have to coach that student to say that, well, what, take this one as actually life, an experience, right? These F's are going to your, not that F, so sometimes you will get failures in life. How do you handle it? If they do not know how to handle a failure when they are in high school, okay, and find strategies overcome, let us imagine when they jump into the workforce, what if they lose a job? What if they have actually a difficult manager, and there will be a lot of problem that they have to face? how are they going to face that kind of a situation? Are they going to quit the job? Are they going to actually resign? Are they going to go and find a different job? Because in real life, what happens is life is not going to be smooth either. Either you take profession, or you take actually married life, or settling down, or finances, whatever that may be. So that's why they need to be coached on how to handle all types of emotional. If they have experience, if they are exposure to all these kind of things, then what happens is you are really preparing a good individual, a responsible individual, a person who can be able to solve the problems effectively and courageously, more than effectively.
Yeah, that was a great example, and I see that many times now. Kids who have been doing really well, and when they transition to the higher grades, the 10, 11, 12 especially, and they are facing a steep increase in the academics. It's like, oh, this is like a deciding year, crucial year, all those pressure also builds up. And some of the vocabulary that's been handled either through their peers or somewhere outside or at home, we never knew what has triggered something, right? That has an impact on them very deeply, and sometimes it's like shakes their confidence, right? When peers say that, oh, you don't even know this, you don't even know this basics, come on, how did you? Then they take it so very personally, and it's like a personal attack.
Yeah, it's because what is happening is they're always comparing themselves with other people, and in competition that's unreasonable competition. They need to understand to begin with. If they have they know that I am who I am. Okay, not everybody is going to be perfect at everything at all. They need to understand that. We call it as actually multiple intelligences theory. That was in 1980s. Gardner is the one actually who proposed that theory. Actually, who came up with that theory. So it's people are born with intelligence of in mathematics or literature or maybe literary work or reading or art or music or kinesthetics or spiritual also. So there are about 7 types of intelligences, plus one is added as called actually spiritual intelligence too. So means people are born with, not everybody will have about 7 intelligences or 8 intelligences. They will have probably 2 or 3. Right? So someone has to accept that I'm intelligent at doing intelligent in the sense I'm capable at math comes to me very quickly. Fine, right? Okay. But not everybody gets it. So some people have to work hard. They need to realize that, well, this is area where I have to put double the effort and so on. And I'm going to be who I am. And people are not going to judge me. Even if they judge me, I'm not going to be shaken by their judgment. Right? Because if that is the case, people are going to come. For example, right, if you take Mahabharata, right, what happened when Pandavas have been given that other barren land? What did they do? Did they lose courage? No. What did they say? It's a barren land, right? You know what? We are all going to collectively work together, and we are going to make it into a beautiful place. Yeah. Students must have a goal. They must have a determination. They must have a desire to get there no matter what. And they just perseverance is what exactly they need to do it. It's kind of almost imagine a horse. A horse we call it as a tonga, right? A horse buggy that's going. What do horses have? They have shades. Teenagers also must learn to put whatever the shades that they think are actually appropriately. Sometimes they have to remove them, have them shades, and they have laser focused on their task.
I don't squarely blame on the existence of gadgets or various devices that we have, right? It's if we are not strong enough internally, if we have not built that emotional intelligence within us, then anything and everything that could come in our way could be a distraction. Right? So if we are clear on what we are doing and where we are heading to, and irrespective of whatever you have around, still you could find the calm and clarity and move in the right direction.
Absolutely. That's important. That's why no matter what, you will have distractions. Every teenager in the world has distractions. The goal has to be in your mind. It should be in front of you all the time. You wake up, you go to sleep, or whatever that may be, always it should be there. And then you say, this is not needed. It can wait until the exam is over. Once I finish my task, then I'm going to have, treat myself. So that kind of, exercise and smartness and discipline is needed.
Yeah. Treating yourself, I love that point. Every time I ask, it's like, hey, wow, you accomplished this. So how are you going to treat yourself? Right? Sometimes we fail to celebrate these small things, but we keep focusing on what we are not doing
Yep.
well. Right? Great. And one more thing that comes to me as we talk more is communication with adolescents. I remember you touched upon this topic sometime before. What are some of the key aspects, if you have to call out the top 5 things that we need to remember as we communicate with adolescents? What is it we need to keep in mind?
So, so communication begins with listening, right? And then once you listen, then you have to have actually, you know, a clarity of what actually they are saying, what you want to. Don't interrupt. And when you are communicating with somebody else, just listen to them completely until they are done. Okay. And ask questions, clarifying questions. It is very important that, if you do not understand what exactly they are trying to say, then you might end up giving wrong advice. Right? So then once the clarification is done, then you need to say, break it down into small pieces of actually, one by one, like address in a I would not say chronological order, but I would say that one, go with the priority. What is the topmost priority for them, right? And you see it as a priority, and that priority you address that one the moment, right? And then the fourth one that I would go is, make sure there is no confusion about what they are saying and what you are hearing, right? That confusion has to be eliminated. And the last one I would say is, make sure you reiterate, or rather than reiterate, I would say that one, repeat it back in a way that one, make sure wherever that we have started, right, it's kind of a closing the gap. Okay. So for example, I say that one, so we started with this conversation that you are getting distracted because you are unable to control using a cell phone, right?
Yeah, if I have to rephrase whatever I just heard from you, a few important things to keep in mind while communicating with teens are: number one is listening, and ask the clarifying questions, and rephrase to make sure that you and them are aligned, and in your solutioning, help them bring in the clarity. Yeah. And in your messaging, make sure that it lands well and builds positivity and confidence.
Absolutely.
Okay, so these are the 5 things that we would like to call out as an important things that we need to keep in mind while communicating with teens. Yeah, well said. Most of the times I see that it's not just teens, no. Even for adults, when we are going through a lot of a situation, it's human to be shaken and get into that mode of confusion, right? But when we go talk to a person whom we trust, right, that gives us clarity, that gives us the confidence and the path ahead, right? So I could see that pretty much the entire coaching process unfolding here as you were mentioning all these steps, Khedamji.
This coaching can save life.
Very well said. It is life changing, right? Because we could see that from their heartfelt gratitude when they say, "Oh wow! Now I've got the confidence. Now I know what to do." Right? And many of the times it is a lack of space. It is a lack of empowerment. Though as parents we have great intentions to empower them, somewhere somehow they are not opening up, right, to parents.
Because of that lack of communication, kids usually check out. They say that, I don't have anybody else. It's kind of almost a volcano. It might be inside them. They want to let it out at the time. So otherwise it is in there and it could be burning them inside too, right? And they have lost interest to share, right? And then you have lost them. That's it. So this is the reason why actually some of the kids, they check out by the time they come to the middle school or high school, because parents are not paying any attention to them. or they are not giving any opportunity, any time or opportunity, any room for them to express themselves, without judging and all this stuff and so on. And what do? That is the reason why they say by the time they finish the senior year, they want to go far away from home. They want to go to some other university, or they are using other avenues to let out their frustration, such as social media could be, or it could be addictions, maybe different types of addictions are because of that only. So kids are, they don't know how to let out their frustration. They let out their frustration, or they communicate through their bad habits, or through some of the bad choices that they make.
And I think it comes back to the point of parenting is again, it is like growing up again.
Yep.
Yeah, great, Srinivas Khedam ji. It was wonderful talking to you. A lot of things that came up today in our conversation. So far, whatever we discussed so far, one thing that reminds me is this lot of steps that you mentioned is all part of this coaching program, which I would call out here. So one thing that I would like to call out here is the Manage Distraction and Excel Academically program that we are doing. And pretty much we work on the goals, we work holistically, not just academics. How do we build them holistically? So that is when we'll be able to have that shade and focus on what we exactly need.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good work. Great work. They need that one. Community needs that. Teenagers need that. Parents need that. Because, teenagers are our wealth. I would say that. They are the nation builders. They are the world builders. And they are the ones who are going to shape our future. So we need to invest time and energy in coaching them and putting them actually in the right path, or actually, pointing them in the right direction and so on. It's totally great work, and applaud your work, your passion, and I'm happy to help in any way that I could.
Thank you so much for taking time and being with us today. I would love to hear you more and have you often to hear your insights. Namaste.
Absolutely. Pleasure. My pleasure. Namaste. Yeah. Thank you.